Talking about Lawrence Wong, our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, new Prime Minister. Hey, my hair nice or not? Wow, hey, the most expensive hair I've cut, because of this Kevin Cheng uh, start scolding the unvax like me. Or he actually call us anti-vax. Actually, we are not anti-vax. We are pro-safe, right? Whatever we take, we are pro-safety, right? Whatever we take, especially vaccine when you put it into your body or what you eat, right? It must be safe. Safety first, right? We are pro-safety. I'm pro-safety. I've never anti-vax. In fact, I was the very first one who says that I wish to have a safe and effective vaccine, right? So that the pandemic can be over soon. That was in 2020. I was never anti-vax, but they want to throw this negative label on us, right? Even our Prime Minister Lawrence Wong says that the anti-vax are the dangerous tribe. We are not dangerous tribe. We are pro-safety. We are the safe tribe. We try to save the whole tribe, not only us, right? And whatever it is, MOH must be observing or stalking me on Facebook very closely. Right? I put up one post about U-turn when Lawrence Wong was talking about U-turn. He wanted to make a better Singapore that allows U-turns, allow people to change path, outliers, blah blah blah. Okay, I was talking about since this is the case, right? He himself, leading the COVID committee, have did numerous U-turn, throughout 2020 to 2021, end of 2021, right? Numerous, right? Well, it's okay, It's okay to do U-turn, no shame, because this is a very new virus that nobody knows what it is all about from the beginning, right? But why did they need to do U-turn? That is the truth of the matter. If we do U-turn for the benefit of Singaporeans, for the welfare of Singaporeans, right, to protect us, to keep us safe, it's okay. Okay, I can tell you, I'm perfectly okay with that. Seriously, right? But you must ask yourself, are you up to the job when you need to do so many U-turns? From the beginning, not closing the border, when we start to see Wuhan virus, we call it the Wuhan virus back then, go on a rampage in Wuhan. And so we saw from media so many people fall dead, right? Fallen dead, right? And they refused to close the border from Wuhan. Even planes from Wuhan can fly in. And I was down here. In fact, that was the very first time I used Facebook Live to talk about this. I said, please do the right thing. We do not know what virus is this, how strong it is, and we are seeing information, limited information, nevertheless, but important information, right? And we should be very concerned, and we should close the dam first, then talk later. But they didn't until we have the first case. Even the first case, they are not afraid, right? No masking, no universal masking. Still have a Chingay procession because that time is Chinese New Year's time, right? Happily Chingay procession, no social distancing. I was puzzled. I said, look, this is not the way to manage a pandemic. I even said, the Chinese have a long history of dealing with pandemic of all sorts. They don't need all the top genetic scientists to tell you what variant it is, what type of COVID, coronavirus it is, whatever. They only know one thing. Once you have a pandemic, you do a lockdown. You do the mask. Put on a mask. Right? Oh, in ancient China, they already have a mask. They use a cloth, right? And they put some oil within incense, essence, extract some oil down there to prevent the virus. That was their wisdom, right? They don't need what those surgical masks or even those big masks, right? They don't need that. They know masking is important because virus can be airborne. If it's not airborne, they can go through droplets. They refuse to follow, or they are not prepared. So they did a U-turn eventually when the deaths start to shut up from March or April of you can see the graph lah. So I keep showing the graph until I'm very sian, right? 2020, right? Up to June. They bopian June, they turn around, then we have the former Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said, oh, we have to do a return, sorry, we have to put on a mask, and the rest is history. After putting on the mask, after practicing social distancing or even lockdown, social distancing, we have quite a stable situation until the vaccination program came. But I'm skeptical of the program, all right? But never mind. In 2020, when they came up with a projection, the budget that says a 4.5 billion deficit is enough to cope with the COVID, the pandemic and all that, I was laughing. Epidemic, they call it back then. I said, look, be realistic. We may be locking down, right? Economic activities is going to slow down quite drastically. And that is peanuts for a 150 billion or 160 billion economy. Right? And they did a U-turn. By May or June, they have an additional budget, which allocate $80 billion. All that is in my memory. A lot of people have forgotten about that because PAP likes to self-praise themselves. Right? They like to praise themselves. They did a lot of U-turns, but they like to praise themselves. Okay? And that is PAP. Own self praise own self is very strong one. If you ask me, how do I grade them in terms of performance, right? I would say that they are always behind the curve. At every stage of management, they are always behind the curve. And why? Why they need to keep doing U-turn and U-turn and U-turn? They did not follow up-to-date information and data, right? Their judgment is all based on past experience of SARS in 2003. The experts, so-called. But the experts are as clueless as anyone else because they do not know what virus we are dealing with. Right? How viral this virus can go. They have no idea. But they put their hopes on all these experts. And the judgment, of course, as a technocrat, nobody is daring enough to take the responsibility, say, no, we should not do that. No, the virus might have their point, but this is what I think. Because the data, the information are telling us this, we should do differently. Right? It's not about being draconian or not, like what Ong Yi Kang tends to say. Oh, maybe we will have draconian rules and Singaporeans have to take it. No, it's not. Never about being draconian or not. It's about pragmatic, right? With good reasoning based on data and information, right? current up-to-date data and information to make your judgment and to make the call. Not every pandemic can be done the same way, Not every pandemic needs a lockdown, Right? It depends on information and data, right? It's just like when the vaccine came, I was very skeptical because the information I get, mRNA, has not proven to be safe. Although I wanted a vaccine as anyone else would love to, so that we can go back to normal life again. But you cannot compromise on safety. And this is one thing that I agree with the late Lee Kuan Yew. Vaccine must be safe. He said 300% safe. There's no such thing as 300% safe. It must be 99% safe or even 100% safe. Right? But you are trying to use a new technology with unproven safety records and was said to be developed within 6 months, be safe enough for mass inoculation. It doesn't make sense to me. Right? And the claim of efficacy, this is the part where MOH came in. After I put up my post about this U-turn, immediately said, wow, myth, the COVID vaccine is not effective. They say, it's effective to prevent serious illness. But that was not the initial claim. The initial claim was 95% effective to prevent infection and transmission. And that was what we pinned on hopes that we will have herd immunity. But by up-to-date data that we track, by April, May, we already know it doesn't work that way. It didn't work that way. It would never work that way. Because the first principle says this: the virus is a RNA virus, and coronavirus RNA virus tends to mutate very fast. Any vaccine, by the time you're ready to put through mass inoculation, you're already mutated already. Especially for this COVID-19 virus, it mutated extremely fast. You can never catch up with it. So the U-turn to say the narrative, to change the narrative, it may not stop infection or transmission, but it will prevent serious SOP. Thank you. Sorry, I should have closed this. Okay. Yeah, prevent serious illness. But look, there's no data. They keep saying this and that. There's no data. No data. Even up to now, they say, according to the data research they do, after 92% is already have a 2 jab or 3 jab, right? They were saying, it has been shown, study have been shown that those who are hospitalized, those who are up-to-date vaccination have less hospitalization. Less, but not zero. Well, but first of all, this is not a randomized trial. We lost the control group. Right? We lost the control group. And secondly, it's impractical for a whole country to continue jumping until you die. Right? Very simple. Sorry, I'm going back to this when I talk about U-turn, because I think Lawrence Wong felt that in his life or in these past few years, right, he has been doing a lot of U-turns. The VDS, the no jab, no job, within 3 months, right, you have to do a U-turn. In fact, only 2 months. It came in effect in February 2021, if I'm not wrong, or January, right? Then it was removed by April 2021, 2022, sorry, 2022. That was a U-turn. But yet, it's not really a U-turn, right? Because there are still some employers which still die must ask for vaccination status and all that. And they allow them to do that. Okay? It doesn't make sense. Why? To protect others. Right? For a vaccine that's effective to protect others as beside ourselves, it must be able to prevent infection and transmission. If the vaccine didn't do that, it's totally unscientific to say that you must have a vaccine before you can go on the job because you will infect other people. No, because you are vaccinated, you still cannot infect, right? You still transmit the infection, right? So what's the diff? The logic doesn't count. Okay. But having said that, the context of Lawrence Wong talking about U-turn and outliers and all that, I know where it's coming from, right? Because he knows up to now, in this modern era, it is really difficult and almost impossible to promise 5C to everyone. That's why you have to redefine 5C or success, right? Beyond 5C. Why? When your population keep going up, and they did not tell us how many, but my guess, right, is 2065. I will explain this before. My guess is they are planning by 2065, we will have 10 million people. This is simply by PUB, projection of water consumption. Okay? Right? If that is so, and at this moment, they actually stop is increasing the number of vehicles by controlling the number of COE that's being issued. Definitely, right? Definitely. Out of 10 million people, only 1 million COE. That means you minus off those vehicles for commercial use, it will be less than 5% of people in Singapore will own a car in time to come. It will start to drop. Now it's about maybe 10%, right? 1 million cars we have now, right? Minus away those commercial vehicles, and that is about 10%, 15% maybe. We don't know. By pure mathematics, it's about 20%, right? But it will reduce, and less people. The middle class will face the squeeze, right? And we will lose the middle class, so to speak. Okay, everyone will be forced out of this market. So the 5C as the aspiration of success or definition of success is not workable anymore. Okay, beyond 5Cs. Right? And this is PAP's policy direction is actually giving a preview of what is going to come out from their future plan. right? It's, it's not about the definition of success. It's pragmatically, if they carry on this process, right, the wealth divide will actually increase. Not only income divide, the wealth divide will actually increase dramatically. And that is what it means. Right? So a lot of people have written about this, talking about, does it really helps to make people feel good when you redefine success and all that? Right? It basically means that the leadership of PAP as a ruling party can no longer promise the best quality of life for Singaporeans, right? Especially for the middle class. So prepare for your quality of life to drop in the years to come. Right? Quality of life is not just about purchasing power. That means living cost of living, inflation. Right? It is also about the space that we are going to have. Our island is more or less, if you can still increase 10% more land by landfills and all that, but our population is going to increase by more than that. So you'll find crime, very crime on this little island in the next few decades to come. If we allow PAP to carry on the population policies direction. Okay? And that is what it means. What it means to all of us. Do you want that? Right? Of course, I always embrace. He's right in the certain sense. Huh? In terms of jobs, skill set, profession, there shouldn't be a distinction between the white collar and the blue collar. He didn't specifically say about white collar and blue collar, but in Chinese, you say 行行出状元, right? Whichever jobs, skill set you are doing, right? You can be the best or the best of the best. But talk is easy. When our society discriminate jobs scope through differential in the wages that we gave them, right? You are not going to give confidence to people of you're successful, but you have low paying jobs. You're successful, your success in your profession as a cleaner, for example. Right? Wow, you are very good in cleaning, you are very successful. But when your pay didn't increase in tandem with the cost of living, right? And your quality of life didn't improve. It is meaningless to define such as success. So for the People's Power Party coming election, okay, our key manifesto is actually very simple. The key issue is very simple. Population policy and quality of life. Or rather, how to achieve better quality of life for all. Or how to achieve better quality life for all. In contrast with the population policies that are giving so many problems to all the aspects. I'll come to that later. All right? And these are important. Whatever you want to do, increase population. I'm not against increasing population, you know. I'm not against increasing foreign talent. I've met some very bright foreign talent recently, right? Recently, when I had my small pop-up tea shop in Tanjong Katong Shopping Center, some are very bright people. They are very professional in their work. Right? I welcome them as long as their contribution to our country's economy, not only our country's economy, our society as a whole, can improve our quality of life. I'm okay. I'm perfectly okay with it. If they contribute, for example, to our MediShield, to a healthcare system, I'm perfectly okay with it. Right? And not compromising the quality of jobs opportunities for our Singaporeans. I'm perfectly okay with it. And not compromising the space and the social fabric, right, and social harmony of our nation. I'm perfectly okay. But when you start to increase population in such a rapid rate, I do not think it is okay. Okay? This is the difference. Right? It's just like I'm not anti-vax. I just want to have the best safe vaccination for our people, to benefit our people. Whatever we do, whatever policy that we comes up, whether it's vaccination or whether it's population policy, it must benefit Singaporeans. And that means Singaporeans first. Singaporeans' interests will always be put on first priority. And only that matters and nothing else. Okay? So in this coming election, it is about better quality life for all Singaporeans. That means the aggressive population policies that PAP is pushing for, which are creating a lot of problems. That is our general election theme. Okay. Now, let's go to this issue. Recently, there's an oil spill in 14th of June. Right? Now, someone actually told me, Ming Sing, PAP have a big team of psychologists behind them. I said, why you say that? Whatever bad problems they have, they always start with positive things about themselves. Own self praise oneself lah, basically. Right? They've done so badly, they still say, oh, have done well in oil spill cleanup. And SOPs are effective. 不是你说了算 not you say means good, What is the KPI? Right? I didn't go deep into this for the last week when it happens. But I think Lim Tian, right? The leader of People's Voice and the Secretary General of the People's Alliance for Reform, which I'm in the alliance, right? Have actually commented about this oil spill because Lim Tian has been in marine law, right, in his past law practice. So he know a bit of all this. He have commented. But let me chip in, right? As a person who are looking more into the substance rather than rhetoric. You can say whatever you want about praise yourself, that you have done well, whatever it is. But what is the truth? Right? What is the truth? In the same report in CNA, and this is from CNA, okay, they claim, okay, within 15 minutes, right, the boat went to the site already, right, 15 minutes. Then it took another 10 minutes or so, they actually call for help. Half an hour, right, within half an hour, right, they call for help, okay. Call for help what? They are contractors. Now, Singapore as a main trade trading as a main trading location, or rather the main port, one of the busiest port in the world. Okay, do not maintain our own oil spill team. Do not have our own team of people that deal with oil spill or emergency, such emergency. I'm actually shocked as LinkedIn. Right? Are we trying to cut costs or not? And the strange thing is this: you read about this, right? The thief they actually the oil spill happens 2:22 p.m. right, triple two, right? So by 2:55 p.m., then right, then they call for their contractors. Right? They took about 10 minutes, 11 minutes to reach the site. Right? It took another 20 minutes for them to decide to call for their contractors, right? The boom contractors, right? To come. Well, the team is a what? TNT Savage, right? I do not know where this team is located. But according to the narrative, right, I read to you, right, the team for TNT Savage needed a few hours to load the heavy equipment, and needed another few hours to sail to the site. Huh? Singapore wanted to. So I presume this company is not situated in Singapore. Is it from Batam? Is it from Malaysia? I do not know. Why would you call for a contractors which is not Singapore based, but based in other places which need another few hours to rush to the port? I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. It took them about 7 hours after activated to get to the site. Well, the equipment is heavy, of course, right? But they only deploy 200 meters of oil pumps around the damaged vehicles by working through the night. Huh? 200 meters. Okay. Oil booms, huh? If one oil booms, well, let's take it is if one oil booms is about 1 meter or 2 meter, maybe 100 of them or 200 of them. And it took them how many hours to deploy? About 7 hours. Another 7 hours. I was scratching my head. Right? It's not 2 kilometers. It's 200 meters. And where did this company come from? Took a few hours to sail to the site. And Mr. Chi Hong Tak actually says the SOP works. And he says the steps taken by MPA and TNT and their response times are in line with international industry practices for responses to oil spill. Hey, Singapore is just a tiny little red dot. Right? The oil spill is so close to our coastline. It's not far away. It's not right at some big seas. Right? It's not international seas. By right, just as a response team, took about 15 minutes, 10 minutes or so with your patrol boats to go to the oil spill site, right, for the port. then why would it take hours for them to travel, for this contractor to travel? I think they are not from Singapore. And why would an international port like Singapore, which is one of the busiest port in the world, right, along one of the major trading, uh, um, one of major road routing, strategic, very strategic, to have such arrangement. And yet, they say they perform well. Is this a type of standard that they are really um, comfortable with? It really puzzles me. Right? This is timeline. Now, beside this, one of the major problem is information. As I said, right, operation wise is operation wise. Whatever judgment you make and public information they put out are very important. In the initial press release or press statement, PSA or the ministry have put up, right, about this langgar, about this oil spill, about this incident at sea, right? A moving ship banged into the stationary ship and there's an oil spill, right? It didn't mention anything about the oil spill at all, even though they claim that they have arrived at the site within 11 minutes. Didn't they realize there's an oil spill? They should have, because by 30 minutes later, they actually call for help for their contractors, right? So they must have seen the oil spill. But the press statement they put up, they didn't inform the public or anyone else that there is an oil spill. Why this is important? Imagine, I happily bring my family to the beach, right, in the evening. I want to go for swimming, right, Sentosa, or windsurfing, whatever sea activities. And suddenly there's oil spill. How would you feel? I know it is not a natural thing for PAP people, right, to take information, freedom flow of information seriously. Timely information, right? They are not used to giving full information at one place at one time, right? They always like to use the word need to know basis. Right? But such information is not for you to judge whether it is useful or not. It's for the public to judge, because some people will need such information. Right? So there's totally no transparency to speak of. Right? When people start to see the oil spill in the Sentosa, right, in Tanjong Ru, in East Coast, they cannot hide already. And they claim that in 2022 they have done such exercise before, oil spill exercise. They should know how efficient, how fast they can deploy the containment of oil booms. Right? It takes 14 hours. 7 hours for the contractors to load up everything and ship the thing to Singapore. I believe these companies are not from Singapore. Right? Or else it will not take a few hours to travel to the site. Right? Right? Don't know where they come from. Right? They should have known. They have already practiced this in 2022. Right? Then what on earth are they thinking that the oil spill will not spread? And other people should have the right to know whether there's an oil spill spreading, right? For example, will it affect the kelong, the fish farming in the surrounding area, not only in Singapore, but in Indonesia? Such information are important for people to do their preemptive measures. Why isn't such information being disseminated? Be open about it. To me, this is substandard SOP. Right? Substandard performance, yet the ministers still say, "Oh, we'll perform well." Oh, I hope those kelong in Indonesia will not sue, right, for damages, right? Let's hope so. Okay, the lady in question. How many of you actually have seen a real Samsui woman before? Ask. How many of you? Okay. I have seen Samsui woman before, even though I was born in 1970s. Right? By 1975 or 1976, there are still Samsui women. Not many, but they are. When I was staying in Toa Payoh, right? Always with a red, very distinctive red cover, right? And when they go to work, they will bring along their food, actually lunch, right? And they smoke. So we have activists or people commenting, or some sort of women don't smoke such a cigarettes and all that. Have they ever seen any Samsung woman before? Seriously, right? And people say, oh, it's against our national policy of not promoting smoking. But just because of that, you want to change history. Even such an art piece, we try to dictate what we think is politically correct. Very lame, lah. Right? Very lame. Right? And they start to say, oh, some woman don't sit on a chair like that. Are you sure? Have you really seen a Samsung woman before? Nah? Right? Let the artists do their work. It's a form of expression, and we should respect the artist. Right? If we want to impose our views, our politically correct views onto artists or those who record history, then a lot of history should be revised, revisionalist. Right? But facts are facts. That's our part of our history. No shame. Really no shame. That is part of our history. Right? Nobody will go and try smoking after they look at this substitute wins with a photo mural of a smoking substitute win. Okay? Even if they want to try smoking, well, I think they'll be frightened by the price of a packet of cigarettes, man. Right? Well, Okay. Tuna Core says that TNT Savage a bit inland, load on board, then through 20 kilometers to Pasir Panjang terminal. Wow, 20 kilometers. Okay, then, wow, 这样厉害啊。Okay, so I'm wrong. TNT Savage is actually located in Singapore. Okay, I'm open to correction. But take a few hours in Singapore, a company in Singapore take a few hours to load up and to bring the oil booms to a nearby site. I cannot believe it. A few hours to sail, but that's what they say, right? A few hours to sail. It means they cannot. They don't have their boat. They have to go and call for boats, pump boats or whatever boats they have. I believe that is the problem. So the SOP didn't work, right? You mean you have a contractor, right, in Singapore that need an operation timing of 14 hours, about 13 to 14 hours to deploy an oil bombs, even though it is situated in Tuas? Are you sure or not? Let Minister Chee Hong Tat go and clarify. Or is it this company actually subcontract to another company from somewhere? I don't know. Hey, you know you know even for army reservists, when we recall, right, 12 hours we can do a lot of things already, you know. We can do a lot of things in 12 hours already. We are expected to do a lot of things within 12 hours, right? Recall back, right? That's for people to come back only need 8 hours lah, 8 hours time lah, right? And do prep and all that. 12 hours can do a lot of things. 14 hours, wow, can go to war already, you know. Prep to go to war already, you know. But this one, I don't know. And yet they praise themselves that, oh, it works. Goodness me. Okay, goodness me. Okay. Never mind. For some women, respect the artist. Right? Don't try to be politically correct. Okay? Don't try to be politically correct. We should feel proud of our heritage. Right? Then there were people complain this, complain that. 你这样厉害，你来画啦。You come and draw whatever you want. What nonsense. If I'm an artist, I will just throw away. I say, I don't want to do. I repay. You come and draw. You commission anyone. That is a problem with Singapore. You know, Singapore used to be Vienna, so-called, of Southeast Asia. Do you know that? We are supposed to be an art center, hub of art center. Don't need PAP government come and say we want to be a hub of this, hub of that. We were already the hub of art and performance, artistic performance before PAP come into power. It was PAP that destroyed all of that. Right? A lot of people do not know this history. We were the first in Asia, or at least in Southeast Asia, to have motion movies, to create motion movies. The first movies that we created was in Malay, right? Ramli, uh, was in Malay. Okay, the first movie producer, Shaw Brothers, was stationed in Singapore. Right? And all the artists gather around in Singapore before they travel to Bali, to other places around the region to do their painting. Right? We were the center of art in Southeast Asia. But all these were gone. All these were gone. We became a cultural desert after PAP came into power. Okay? Because of this intervention. Right? Whether it's singing, whether it's poetry, and all that. We were very vibrant city in the center of Southeast Asia. Of course, because we are the richest among, we was already the richest cities in Southeast Asia before PAP comes into power. Right? So don't believe all this one or turn a fishing village into a first world country and all that. That's rubbish. We were already top in GDP per capita, right, before PAP took over. Right? I think even better than Hong Kong back then. If I'll find time to give a lecture on Singapore history, the real history, both economic and cultural history of Singapore. I'm not a revisionist. These are all documented. Ironically, it was PAP trying to portray themselves as some experts here and there to create miracles. It's not. We were already very rich city in this part of the world. Right? Anyway, respect the culture. Right? The last issue that I want to talk about is the economics. Now, the BRICS. BRICS started off with 4 countries, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. No, South Africa came later. Okay, it started with these 4 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Right, 2 of them are the most populous. That means countries with the most number of population. Right, and they represent a huge market, international market around. Right, so now I think they have about 10 countries extended. Right, and Saudi Arabia, I'm not very sure whether it's in or not, because ding dong here. If it's in, with United Arab, United Arab, they produce 40. Well, I read for about 44% of the world's energy, oil. Okay, they have the biggest market in the world in terms of population. And if Indonesia joins BRICS, the combined market in terms of population, consumption, right, consumer market is enormous. No other blocks, economic blocks, whether it's economic European Union or the NAFTA, North American trade partners, right, can beat that size. Right? Malaysia have just applied to join BRICS under Anwar. Anwar is a very smart guy. Okay, never underestimate Anhua. Right? Of course, the Philippines will not join because of the South China Sea thing, but I think a lot of Asian countries, even Indonesia, I believe the new president of Indonesia is contemplating of joining BRICS. Okay? And this is a big contestant against the G20, another grouping of G20 countries. And when Russia say this, right, the Russian apparently is pissed off with a few countries who have shown interest to join BRICS. Okay, when Russians say this about countries seeking to join the group must not be involved in unilateral sanction schemes. Right? 意识浅浅, that means whoever have a initiate economic sanction against Russia will not be welcome or will be prevented from joining BRICS. And that means Singapore. 意识浅浅, right? So what are the impacts, the real economic or perceived impact on Singapore? I really do not know yet. Because BRICS is coming up with an alternative currency for trading, right? So this, I have explained about the petrodollars in my previous live chat. When there is a competing currency against the US dollars as a international currency for trading, the demand of dollars will actually drops. And due to the fact that US have been printing so much money, so much dollars in the past, and if people start to lose interest in it, they are in great trouble. Okay? They will be in great trouble. It basically means, right? It basically means that there will be inflation in US, depreciation of the US dollars. Right? It will create a turbulence in global economy because whether it's a tremor, whether it's an earthquake, we do not know. It depends on the transition period. How smoothly can this actually have a transition period? Okay, we do not know. But it is not going to be good. Okay, it's not going to be good. As long as we have a problem of multipolar dynamics, they're competing, we will have war. And that is the ultimate fear that we are looking for. Right? In history, countries fought each other because of war. Even the Europeans fought themselves, right, because of trade. Right? The Spain will fight the British Empire, the Dutch will fight the British, right? So on and so forth. All countries are for themselves. But now we have blocks of countries. Okay? BRICS is one of them. And of course, Russia have been fighting in the Ukraine war, so it is already in loggerheaded with it. How will it actually pan out? Nobody actually knows. So God help us for this. Okay, before I want to close this session, I'm going to go back to. I know a lot of you are actually quite tired of all these, um, vaccine thing. A lot of people say, don't talk about vaccine anymore. But I will try to keep it short to update some of the developments so that everyone will know what is coming. Right? The tsunami of truth, someone have said, will overwhelm everyone else. Right? What is a tsunami of truth? Now, remember I was talking about cancer, suing, right? This one.
Pfizer marketed its vaccine as safe for pregnant women. However, in February of 2021, Pfizer possessed reports for 458 pregnant women who received Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine during pregnancy. More than half of the pregnant women reported an adverse event, and more.
After cancer is a state in the US, have announced its intention to sue, right? 4 other states in America have also joined in the lawsuit. They are going to launch the lawsuit against Pfizer for misrepresenting or selling of their vaccine, right? Now, what are the implications? Okay, the implication is actually quite wide. Which are the 5 states altogether? Kansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and Utah. Right, these 5 states. Right, and we do not know whether more states will join. Florida is has been against this mRNA vaccine. Right, basically advised against it. Right, since long time ago. Right, so they are all prepared to actually go against it. Right, now, not only this happened in United States, right? They are actually Argentina is doing it, suing Pfizer, okay, right? Malaysia is suing their own government, and so on and so forth. So we are in a very peculiar era, right? That is why we call the tsunami of truth that is coming down on us. You know, and we want to see the results of all these lawsuits. It is not reported in the mainstream media. Definitely no mainstream media will want to know about it, will want us to know about it, right? But it's important. As I said, it question about the pregnant woman, safety for the pregnant woman. There's no safety data. In fact, it shows potential adverse impact on pregnancy, right? But Pfizer says it's okay. And all the establishment from FDA and all that, right? Government all over the world say it's okay for pregnancy. But data, the long-term data or mid-term data and long-term data have been showing that it is not. Right? Fertility rate have dropped. Right? More miscarriages, more stillbirth is happening all around the world, not only Singapore. Okay? It doesn't look good. Right? Mis-selling that its efficacy is 95% and it can prevent transmission, which we now know it is not true. Right? Protect against all other variants, it is not true. Right? And so on and so forth. And all this will have a material impact on Pfizer. If everyone sue Pfizer, Pfizer may told you, okay? And these are the happenings. And the other happening, remember in our first uh, press release by the People's Power Party, we actually put up a few research articles. One of them is written by co-author by Peter McKellar, which talks about the autopsy, the biggest autopsy reports ever. I think 300 plus. Right? They found something very interesting. I'm going to show you why it's happening. But back then, when the preprint came out, right, in Lancet was under pressure to withdraw it, right? To withdraw it, right? And actually, MOH, I think, mentioned about it. Oh, this article has been withdrawn and sold out. I don't know. I haven't double checked, right? But this is coming out again. It's peer review, and it's going to be published again. Maybe not. I don't think it's by Lancet again. Lancet, too bad, have lost credibility in academic freedom, to maintain academic freedom, to be objective in academic freedom as a journal. Unfortunately, Lancet is lost credibility in that, right? So it will be published again in another journal. Right? Let's see what is in it.
I just wanted to share a little bit of breaking news with you. I found out a few hours ago something that very exciting. Last year, some of us submitted a vaccine injury paper to the Lancet, to one of the biggest journals in the world, co-authored by Dr. Peter McCullough, myself, Dr. Mark Trozzi, Dr. Roger Hodkinson, and other doctors. That paper was about autopsy series, the largest autopsy series in the world of COVID vaccine, people who took COVID-19 vaccines and then died suddenly a few days or a few weeks after. That paper was downloaded hundreds of thousands of times, and within 24 hours, there was so much pressure put on by the pharmaceutical industry that the Lancet took the paper down, canceled it, and basically wanted to cancel it forever so that it would never see the light of day. I just found out a few hours ago that that paper has passed peer-reviewed and is going to be published. It is the largest autopsy series in the world. 325 autopsies of COVID-vaccinated people who dropped dead a few hours or few days or few weeks after taking the COVID-19 vaccine. We did a rigorous review of these autopsies, and we found that about 74% of the cases of sudden death were caused or contributed to by the vaccine. That is now a peer-reviewed paper that's going to be published. And the reason I'm telling you that is that there is more evidence coming every single day. And it's not a little bit of evidence. It's not a case report here that they're going to dismiss, or a case report there, or a paper that the Lancet is going to take down and say, don't look at this autopsy series and we'll just bury it and make sure it never sees the light of day. There's going to be a tsunami of evidence of the harm of these COVID-19 vaccines, whether it's harming children, pregnant women, adults. And my message to the politicians is get ahead of this. Get ahead of this if you can. Don't chase after when all the evidence is out and then you're caught with your pants down. Get ahead of it now. Thank you.
Yep. The message to all politicians around the world, and that includes Singapore, right? Get ahead of the evidence, or else you'll be caught pants down. New Zealand is going to have a second round of inquiry, public inquiry into the COVID processes, including vaccination and all that, right? The management. A lot of countries are doing reviews, right? Even the UK politicians, when the election comes, nobody is talking about safe and effective anymore for the vaccine. They are just saying that it was the best solution that they could adopt. And as I said, we have lost the control group where we vaccinate 91%. Whoever actually advised the MOH to go for 100%, to push for 100% vaccination, right, is silly. If you can have herd immunity, 75% is enough. That is statistical. That's science. Whoever thought want to push for 100%? This is extremely silly. You destroy the control group. No meaningful control group. Of course, there's not only the control group is gone, right? You can never have a randomized trial anymore to have a meaningful, conclusive research on the efficacy and the safety of the vaccine anymore. Right? All are based on speculation. Just like when you see, even though only 20% of a people are up to date vaccination. Those are up to date are considered like no vaccination like that, right? You can say what you want, right? Have less hospitalization and all that, but that is actually selection bias in statistical terms. It cannot be a conclusive. It's correlation doesn't necessarily means causation. I'm using their own words against them. How do you conclude that is effective in that sense? Right? You are just seeing a correlation. It might not be a causation. Right? Is it or not? So, we will never have a conclusive or meaningful findings. We only can second guess or educated guess at best. Based on the data that we have, like the access depth we have, we can have a very instinctive things to do is there is uncertainty, there is risk, and we should stop it now. The cup is either half full or half empty. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but that is a prime suspect. That is what I'm saying all along. Right? And when there is no other clearer picture, clearer explanation of happening, then the prime suspect should be the main suspect. Just like just now what you saw, that is actually quite conclusive because they are doing autopsy. What they've done is they collect all the autopsy reports in the scientific publication and all that. They found out about 74% of those deaths. This autopsy was carried out because there was sudden death. Right? Sudden death of people, right? Maybe about 1 week after vaccination and so. So they found out 70% of this autopsy, the death, are most likely caused to the vaccination. 74%. So when we see sudden death, heart attack, strokes and all that, death from heart attack and strokes and all that, right? If it's sudden, right? 75% chances is that they are caused by the vaccination. That's what they are saying. If you have a sudden death 7 days after vaccination, that's what their conclusion, right? Of course, all the governments in the world will try to avoid accountability or liability, right, or responsibility about that. They will say no this, no that, but this is the reports that came up. It's quite a significant report to be peer-reviewed and to be published. Right? And I believe we are only in the midterm right now. When we extend another 1 or 2 years later, right? Because normally long term is 5 years or above, right? So this is the 3rd year of vaccination. if we continue to see the consistencies in excess death and sudden death, right, then it is most likely true, statistically speaking. Right? And of course, we are very happy that the infection rate actually went down in Singapore, and the hospital have less patients due to COVID, in spite of the fact that we are 92% have 3 jab or more, right? We still have about 200 people hospitalized due to this infection, right? That's a sign. So they move the narrative again, move the goalpost, say, oh, because they are not up to date to vaccination. Never mind, right? But this is a fact. Only 38,000, about 40,000 maybe now, took their latest jab. And this is about what? 0.5% of the population, right? Not even 1%. This vaccination, this lower down in the transmission or the infection rate cannot be due to this 0.5% increase in vaccination. Right? The truth of the matter is the waves of infection will have actually ups and downs. It will actually go slowly fade away. It's a natural thing. When enough people got infected, knowingly or not knowingly. Okay, good night.